Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to be talking about these little gate markers. I'm calling them crawling dots. Really the idea is it's just something to help me or anybody else who's with me potentially know where to go for a route when we're radio controlled rock crawling. So the idea is everybody has to do the same route, and by the same route I mean you have to go through the same gate markers as part of your scoring system, and if you don't go through them in the right order, you miss one, etc., you lose points. But the idea is everybody has to go through a similar obstacle to keep the game fair. So in this case, I just made my own from some 3D Solutech TPU material just because, well, these are going to be living in my backpack and I want them to last. You could build them really out of anything. I mean, I could build them out of nylon if I wanted to, but I had TPU, so I figured why not. But the reason why we're here is I'm going to show you how I went about building them. So let's dig into that. So in the beginning here, I just created a simple sketch with a 1 inch by 1 inch arc. So pretty much it's a 2-inch diameter sphere, only I created a quarter of it, if you will. And you'll notice that I have this bottom area and this top area filled in. That will make sense a little bit later. And then I have this lower area and this upper area filled in as well. For the purposes of building the crawling dot, I just used this lower area. The others, we'll get to them in a minute. So with that done, I just did a simple revolve around the origin axis, or you could have also used the vertical axis here as well. Doesn't matter, whatever was set up would work. Then what I did is I came along on this plane and I just drew a simple triangle. Now the reason why is I wanted this to have 4 small contact patches so it can sit on irregular rocks more easily. Now with that cut out, I could have come along and drawn that on all the other sides, but that's a little bit impractical. So what I did was a circular pattern, and I had just selected these 2 faces here, which was then spun around 4 times around the central axis, and it got us the nice little cutouts right there. Now the next thing I did is I created a construction plane that was 1 inch from the bottom plane to there. And with this, I came along and just drew and extruded an arrow shape. Now, you could import an SVG if you wanted to and do that. I just drew up a very simple arrow. It's nothing super fancy. The idea is, oh hey, I now have something to know where I'm going. Nothing very complex. Now, what you'll notice that I've done here is I've made this a new body, so it's not joined to the base here. The main reason why is because this is cutting through and this is a bit higher than it needs to be, but I did that for simplicity's sake because we're going to come along with the original sketch and use these 2 surfaces along with a revolve to cut it down to size. So now you can see it's gone from protruding and looking really ugly to, oh my gosh, it now conforms to it. Now if you want to, you totally could leave it flat on the top if that's the style that you prefer, and you could just cut the bottom out to make it flush. It's all up to you. I really don't care either way. I just decided to make it look nice, and it's a good example of how to do things. Half of this is just teaching people how to do this in the first place. So now what you'll notice is I came along and I did 2 move copies. Alternatively, I could have just done create a pattern and gone that route. Doesn't really matter. Just make sure if you're doing the move command, you also click copy, or you're just going to move the item and kick yourself in the butt for 5 minutes going, why is it not working? So now what I did is I just came along and used the text command to create both an S and an F shape, and very sorry if it's kind of hard to see because they're all stacked on top of each other, but we have an S and we have an F for start and finish. Probably not the most ideal way of going about doing it, but you know what? Whatever. Then with those sitting in situ, we trimmed them down as well. And then when one was done, I took it and moved it over the required distance to the other side. Rinse and repeat as necessary. You'll also notice that I came along and I colored the tops of these with The appearance function, in real life, I just used a black Sharpie, a red marker, and a green marker to color the tops. It's nothing perfect, but you know what? It's a lot better than squinting in the sun going, which gate marker is that again? It really helps. So then to finish it off, I just did a combine command. So it just joined this to this, that to that, and that to that. Now personally, I actually kind of like the effect of the top of this being round with that shape on there. I know the commercially made ones are flat on the top and whatever. I mean, the point here is I did this more as an example of how to do this, and make them in your own style if you want to. So the next step was I printed these up in the 3D Solutech clear flexible filament. I did use support material on the inside just because that top little area right there was going to be a little bit tricky, but other than that, they work great. So to conclude the video, I will now cut some footage of me over at my top secret, probably won't be when the video's out, crawling location that I used to go to all the time. Hope you guys enjoyed and found this useful, and I'll see you here next time on Make It with Calvin.